is a psychic reading on the rest of 2020, looking at the energies of the year, not so much focused on predictions, more just looking at the energy. So I'm seeing it as a like dark blue. It's not like a very clear type of vibration. It's kind of murky and kind of heavy, but it still is blue, so there's this sense of clearness on some level going on here. So I'm seeing a picture, which is a symbol, which is not literal, of a woman who is kind of skinny. It's like her wrists are a little on the skinny side. She's not. She's very feminine, and she's doing what kind of looks like magic with her hands, for lack of a better word. So there's a lot of feminine energy here. Let's see, what does this mean in context of 2020? This is like the unspoken, kind of quiet, um, this woman is working behind the scenes. And this represents the energy of 2020, what's remaining, what hasn't happened yet. It's July now, the beginning of July. And it's like she's casting this energy out. I'm seeing it as gold, so it's very healing. It's very healing energy. But there's a lot of this heavy murkiness to get through first. I'm seeing her as being kind of like almost like a fairy type of being, not literally a fairy, but like, you know how the pixies, the fairies are always really skinny. It's very much like that. I'm gonna go ahead and ask, what is this? What does this mean for 2020? This is about the unspoken truths coming out on some level, being realized, having power, these unspoken, like quiet types, not necessarily people, but that type of energy. The frail, those who may not normally be combative and may not be shouting and being, in the spotlight, those types of people. Looks like having this healing power. Let's see a little bit more about what this means. Seeing this turtle walking around in a spiral, very Native American like. I'm just getting that this is about healing. This turtle has to do with the earth. It's going down in a spiral, like going down towards earth. And this represents the general public. And it has to do with the protests. And that's represented by this turtle. Well, this woman is different. This woman is like someone who kind of stays home and doesn't really go out so much, and she's able to spin her magic. But this turtle is like kind of the contrast to that, which is that it's going like in this, well, downward spiral, but not in the negative sense of that. Let's see, what does this mean? Definitely a grounding energy happening here within this, with all the kind of chaos that's been lit up. Let me see, what does this mean? I'm seeing this, it's like echoing. There's this sense of these things echoing, like having some sort of effect in the way that an echo would. Let's see, what does this mean? People are learning a lot from their own behaviors in the rest of this year, it looks like. Seeing people becoming much, much more grounded, but it's like people are stuck, and in order to get there, they have to kind of have this fiery energy to burn through everything that they're stuck in, which seems to be like everybody's just kind of freaking out lately. But it looks like once that happens, it's like this echoing kind of energy where people can kind of see, like it's almost like it bounces back to them and they kind of see themselves, and creates more awareness, and people become more grounded. Let's see, what does this have to do with the protests? What I'm saying is people, the best way I can put it is becoming more conservative. Maybe that's not the best way I could put it, because that kind of has political implications that I'm not getting at. But what I am getting at is people are like working to change the system in a less defiant sort of way. It looks like um, people are realizing that they have power. It's like people have just been like kind of, rioting and doing that as a display of power. But then people are starting to realize that they actually have power beyond that, like beyond just being able to display it. Like people actually are able to do something with this. So it looks like I see a lot more movements going like into the government as opposed to just opposing it. And I'm seeing like a woman, very grounded, very earthy, vibe woman who's really able to stand her ground and really understand, you know, the situation at hand regarding both sides of the story, as in understanding the legal system, understanding what has to be done for things to actually like work in that context, while simultaneously um, like having sympathy and empathy and really understanding the struggles of what's going on in the streets, so to speak. And being very kind and empathetic. I'm seeing her as being the bridge between these two like disconnects of society that are just like fighting each other in this way, which I'm not saying is bad, because it was kind of the fire that was needed in order to burn the barriers to make that possible in the first place. Um, but it looks like there's a lot of self-reflection for people who have been. I think everybody's been a little, fiery. It looks like there's some serious understandings, very grounded energy coming in for the rest of the year. I'm gonna go back to the very first thing I was seeing with this woman, a different woman who was kind of spinning her magic, like a crystal ball type of situation here. And what is she about? There's a lot of opinions people have behind closed doors, so to speak. A lot of um, like personal insights that very introverted, um, and even you could say esoteric things that most people aren't really going to understand necessarily. And it looks like that's becoming it's gaining power. It's almost like things are being revealed. Let's see, what is this? This is someone who hides from everyone else in order to find their truth within themselves and not be like tied down by everyone else's opinions. I'm saying that this person is really able to share their truth with the world much easier within this remaining 2020 year. I'm gonna go ahead and see, I don't know, politics. Let's see what comes up for politics. I'm seeing what looks like I don't know what god this is, a Hindu goddess or god with like the fire circle around them, and they have one leg up. Let me see, what does this mean? They're looking through a telescope at something far away. This looks like foreign countries. Looks like there's a lot of like checking out other countries involved here, like spying on them potentially. Let's see, what does this mean? It's like there's stuff being produced. Like there's some activity going on. I'm seeing it as a cloud, and then it's like electrified, and then a sheep comes out of this cloud, and it's like mass producing all these sheep. um, this looks like it has to do with Donald Trump, but it has to do with more than Donald Trump. It has to do with just the whole government. Um, I'm also seeing Pence involved in this, just like looking at what's going on in this other country. And it's like kind of a competitive thing, kind of also trying to see like if we can copy it and like be ahead of the curve. It has to do with like mass production. Now I'm seeing a snail that's moving really slowly. And it's like this energy that's kind of clogged the American system, economy, government, um, and like this disbelief in the American system that seems to be slowing things down a little bit. And it's like, okay, so it's like the government's trapped and wants to be doing these things, but it's like we have all this stuff on our plate that's not allowing us to move forward um, economically. Let's see, what is the truth here? Seeing as a butterfly, like this other country is like a butterfly, and there's just like this heaviness to the United States right now. Or I mean, in the rest of 2020, almost like the gears are stuck. Let's see, why are the gears stuck? Seeing somebody fishing, like kind of conservative type of person who's fishing. It's like they're just getting one fish at a time. It's like they don't want to try anything new. It's like they can get their fish this way that they know of. But there are ways to get more fish. But they're just like kind of stuck in this way of doing things. Let's see, why are they stuck in this way of doing things? It's just like tradition, basically. Let's see a little more. It's also like this, like almost shame and depression, like afraid of, or like demotivating to the point of it's kind of going along with the flow, or not really trying to be innovative. Looks like there's some stuck energy like that for the United States. With that, let me see. What does this have to do with? This has to do with more with the economy than like individual people. Seeing individual people, there's a lot of finger pointing, but there's also a lot of spirits like soaring, like high, like in a good sort of way. Um, like people are becoming more creative in their expressions. Maybe not creative, but they're expressing themselves more. But there's also this finger pointing involved as well. Lots of finger pointing. Let's see what this is about. This is about people's ideas and ideologies, as you would expect. And trying to explain what's going on in the world. Like within the economy. It's like there is something about other countries or another country. People kind of pointing their fingers in regards to that. This could be like potentially Russia or somewhere around there. Let me see, what is this? I don't know. Could be Indonesia. I'm not really sure exactly if this even is anything in particular, or maybe just the Europe as a whole within the economy, within its economy. It looks like there's a lot of self-sufficiency coming from these other countries, and it's like America is starting to notice that and be like, hey, like you guys are you're doing it on your own. Like we're supposed to be involved with all this. Looks like there's a bit of that going on, or like almost like jealousy. I'm gonna look on a more individual level. Like, what are the energies the people, like the general people of America, will be handling? I'm just seeing this blue energy again. It's like I'm seeing this almost like a ghostly figure. What is this? This is like a grandmother energy. But like almost angelic. What does this mean for the American public? People will be reflecting on their past and their families and like their spirituality. I'm seeing like people with like precious jewelry, things that have been passed down to the family, things that are, meaningful on a very individual level, not financially or like, something that anyone else would understand. It's like kind of very introverted, very individual, sacred type of self-reflection about family, things of that matter. Let's see what else. saying that this is like something people are focused on, but they feel kind of like stuck. Like they want to be able to honor this more, but they don't feel quite like they can. And this looks like there's a lot of female energy kind of fighting the man, like the male, like the man type of energy. And but it's not like a fight either. It's like the man type of energy, so to speak, is trying to work with this, but let me see, why is it not working? But there's so much energy on it, and it's such a personal issue that can't be openly discussed that it's problematic. So it looks like there's a lot of issues with people on an individual personal level like that coming up this year in particular, like very personal things that it's almost like too many things at once to the point where it doesn't even make sense even to the person experiencing it. It's like almost like an emotional, like, I don't want to say meltdown, but more like just like too much energy. I'm gonna see what people can do about this. What would help? I'm seeing people writing, like not necessarily writing a diary, but I'm actually seeing people writing creatively, like creative writing, like fantasy writing, um, like recording your dreams, things like that. I'm seeing that sort of thing being very beneficial for the general American public, um, on an individual level for this year. Let's see. It's gonna do some. I'm just gonna see randomly what comes up. What's of interest for people to know about within the energy of the rest of 2020. What I'm seeing is like an ocean scene and the big wave coming. What does this mean? It looks like I'm seeing these people on the boat, and it's like they lose their footing. So it looks like there's a lot, like things are getting stirred up. There's a lot of stirring up. There's like this really intense feeling. I actually feel it in my second chakra. This is like some really deep rooted stuff being hit on this year for the rest of this year, like really like at people's foundation, like to the point where I see people like crying, like not necessarily crying because it's like a horrible thing, but because it's such a deep emotional, like it really gets to people, like in like you can feel it in your gut type of situation. Looks like a lot of people's heads are kind of spinning, um, like stuff just looks like it's really crazy. Like people just don't even really know what to make of it. Like their feet get swept out from under them, and they have to kind of readjust to this new reality. It's like a new reality coming in. Let's see, what is this about? Things are just shifting a lot. people have to refresh their relationships if they want them to keep running smoothly. But it's also very cleansing. I'm seeing a lot of energy that was like stuck, that was just like negative, like not helpful um, stuff clearing out. Um, this has to do with like the past and things that just haven't changed. Things are changing this year for sure. I'm seeing things like mellowing down by the end of the year, but what I'm seeing is it looks like there's these other ships approaching. And this looks like it has to do with the government and people really being able to see what's going on within this government more. And you know what? This looks like it's not really the US government as much as like a bunch of government, like just like the world government, I guess you could say, just like the network of all governments. And people are really seeing the networks more and more. And I don't see people doing anything about it this year, but I see people like messaging each other, people communicating about it, people really connecting with that, with with this new perspective and being able to really bond more against what looks like almost like a foreign threat, like a foreign enemy of some sort. I'm saying it actually as a pirate ship. um, I'm getting that this has to do with banks or banking and finance and things of that nature, corruption. People are people by the end of this year, it looks like, will be connecting in ways where they will be able to, discuss this more openly and in a grounded manner in which something can actually be done about it. But I don't see anything really necessarily happening this year except for people waking up to it more and more. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and end this reading. Thank you for watching. You can always check out my other videos if you like this one. Have a great day.